Hi guys, I'm Philip and welcome to this Codealong. We will be building this chat user interface using Bootstrap, of course HTML, SAS, that's a CSS preprocessor. If you don't know what that is, you should start using it. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, we can start analyzing this interface before we begin coding, just to have like an idea of what we're going to be doing. So Bootstrap has 12 columns, so we can say that this takes 1/3 of the 12 columns. So this part will be 4 columns wide, and this part will be 8 columns wide. So we will begin with 2 columns. Of course, here we will have this tray, the search box here, and a friend drawer, as I call it. Excuse me. And up here we have like a variation of this friend drawer here, and chat bubbles here, and another input field here with these icons. So to build this, we will need to include Bootstrap. There's some weird sounds coming from the outside, don't mind that. We will need to include Bootstrap for icons. It's Google material design icons. And the third thing we will need is, let me just check it out here. It's jQuery, of course. We're going to be using Codepen because it's awesome, and it's a nice thing to have a Codepen if you're an aspiring front-end developer or any kind of front-end developer, especially the UI kind. Codepen is really useful. Okay, so I started a new pen here, and we're going to include our dependencies. So in CSS we need Bootstrap, and the other thing is we need is material design icons. That's it for CSS. And here in JavaScript we need jQuery, of course. Yeah, I think that's it. For the CSS preprocessor here, we're going to be using SCSS. So yeah, that's it. Let me just open this so we have a reference. So everything will be in a container, of course. That's the way Bootstrap does it. We have a row inside of a container and then columns. So let's begin like this. In our HTML, we can say container. Inside of our container we have rows, but without paddings. Bootstrap adds some default paddings to rows, so we're going to remove those with the Bootstrap class, no gutters. Inside of the row we have the 4-column this. Bootstrap has 12 columns. We will take 4 of them, that's this part, for our friends. Okay, and we need this little border here for this section. I mean, it's this whole border. So we can add the Bootstrap's class here, border right. Let's just add it later so you guys can see how it happens. So let's say now we need this settings. We're going to call this a settings tray. So we will create a div with a class of settings tray, and inside of it we have 3 things. We have an image and 3 icons. So let's begin with an image. For the URL, I'm just gonna copy a URL I have over here, but you can use any kind of image you want. And for the alternative tag that we need, we will use profile image. Of course, we will give a class to this image, and the class is profile image. So inside of this settings tray, we also have 3 more icons. We're going to group them all in a span element. So after our image is here, we'll create a span element with class settings tray, with a little modifier that says right. And we now need a three icons here, as shown here. So let's say icon class material icons cached, icon class material icons message, and the third one is material icons menu. Of course, you can find all these icons on material icons. It's right here. It's a website made by designers from Google that has all these nice icons here, and you can use them in your project. Super awesome and key. So let's say we've finished writing HTML for this part here. So the thing we need now is to style it using our Sass. So let's write some Sass here. Okay, we need the first thing we want to do is to put this nice background image on the background of our body element. So let's say body background image URL, and I'm just gonna copy the URL I have over here from Unsplash. It's a website that hosts really nice images for free. And in the body, now we have our background image here, and in the body element we also want to include the attributes that are going to make, or statements that are going to make our fonts smooth. So swapkit font smoothing. These are callbacks for different browsers. These things are just something that you can copy from somewhere. If you want to learn more about these things, you can just Google them. If we don't include them, our fonts are going to be all like badly drawn. So right here we have everything in our container, so we need to write some code for our container. We're going to give it a margin of 6 pixels top and bottom, and auto on the left and right, so we have it all centered. The background of this container here, our settings tray, is gray, so we can say background. Oh, this is actually the background of the whole container. We will say it's white. So this is our whole container for the app. And the padding is 0. And border radius is 7 pixels. Okay, we're styling this container here. And here are our icons. So let's write some code for our profile image. Some width of 50 pixels, height of 50 pixels, and a border radius of 40 pixels. You can actually say 25 pixels, and it will make it a round circle. So yeah, we have this part done. And now let's begin styling our settings tray. Settings tray. Background is this grayish color. EEE, we can make a variable out of that. So gray EEE. And that's nice. We want to add some padding to this element, so padding 10 pixels, 15 pixels, 10 pixels to the top and bottom, 15 to the left and right, and a little border radius of 7 pixels. Because we're using this no gutters here, yeah, actually we won't need this. Okay, never mind. Settings tray. So inside of our settings tray, we want this span element, these icons, to go to the right. So we will say, actually, I think we can say here, float right. Nice. So Bootstrap has this class float right that we can use to float elements to the right side. And now we want to style our icons here. So we can just say and nest this I element inside of settings tray, and let's give it a margin top of 10 pixels, font size 25 pixel, color we can use the normal CSS gray color, and the margin left of 14 pixels. Of course, we'll have a hover state. Excuse me. Just hover, and let's turn the color to blue. Also, let's define this blue color here. I'm just gonna copy over the code for my reference, so that's it. Color blue. And the other thing we wanted here for our icons is the cursor to change the pointer on hover. And we also want a kind of smoother effect. So we can say transition 0.3 seconds, and we have this nice thing going on here. So awesome. Let's move to our search box here. So for the search box, we will need a different background. It's different shade of gray, and a white search box with an icon here, and a grayish placeholder that says search here. So let's add the HTML first, then we add the CSS. So we put it all under our settings tray, because this part is our settings tray. So it goes right here. And we will create a div with a class of search box, of course. Inside of that search box, we're going to put an icon. Actually, we will put everything in an input, like input wrapper, like this, because we want to put the icon first. Material icons search, and after that we will put the input field with a placeholder of search here. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to style this. So for the search box, we will use a different shade of gray. Let's begin at the end of our settings tray here. So let's start like this. Search box. We want the background of this gray color, and a little padding of 10 pixels to the bottom and top, and 13 pixels to left and right. So for the input wrapper, that's our wrapper that's wrapping the icon and the search box in one single container that's white. So the background of the input wrapper will be white, and a border radius will be the whole like circle. So this thing happened here, and we want to style the icon a little bit. So we can say the color of the icon is gray, and the vertical align is set to middle, and that the margin left is 7 pixels, just to add a little bit of space here. So for our input, because this input here and this input here are almost the same, we will put it in, we will style it like this. We won't test it inside of the search box, but we will put our CSS for the input here. So we don't want any borders on our input, so border none. Border radius is circled. We don't have to, these numbers, once it's like half the width or height, the border radius is always like a circle. And we just want to say that the width of this input field is 80% of the whole input wrapper. So we can say width is 80%, for example. And the placeholder here of this input, if you didn't know, this sign turns into this after CSS gets compiled to, SCSS gets compiled to CSS. So we say the color of this is E3, E3, E3. And do we have that variable? We don't, but we have a lot of gray colors, so let's just leave it like this, not a variable. The font weight of the placeholder is 300. We want the typography here in the search box to be really thin, and the margin left is 12 pixels for the placeholder, just to add a little bit of space here. I don't think anything happened, so we can just remove this. Okay, no margin to the placeholder. And we don't want this outline when we type it here, so let's just say focus outline none. When we click this, we don't want the outline to happen, so it's outline none on the focus event, on the focus of pseudo selector. Okay, so we're done with this part. Let's do the friend drawers now. The friend drawers are divs, of course, with some few things inside of them. Let me show you. So it all goes down below the search box. So let's say friend drawer, and because these friend drawers will have the on hover state, but this one doesn't, but the other things like these typography and these things and everything is the same, we will add another class here that's friend drawer on hover, for example. We can do that. So for our first friend, we will of course need an image, a text here, an image, a name, a message, and the time of the message when it's sent. So you can do it like this. Excuse me. So image, profile image, we will put it like that. I'm just gonna copy over the URL for this image. You can put your friends there or anything like friend photo. Okay, yeah, the profile image class, it's the same for this and this, for these elements, for both of these elements. So that's it. I'm gonna put my name and message in a single element that wraps them. We can say it's text with h6 tag that says Robocop, and a paragraph that has a Bootstrap class of text muted that turns the text to a grayish color, and he says, hey, you're arrested. Of course, we have to escape this element, or no. And next to the text, let's put our span that has a class time and a class text muted and a class small. And here's some time here. Now to style these, I have to say that they're all inline elements. You can do it with flags box. There's a lot of ways to do it today, of course. Let's see what's the quickest one. So a friend drawer, friend drawer like this. It has a padding of 10 and 15 pixels. Display flags box. Vertical align for these is baseline. If you don't know Flagsbox, there's a CSS tricks article on Flagsbox. It explains everything, like CSS tricks, Flagsbox. It explains everything about Flagsbox that you want to know, and it's super awesome article. Has a lot of things here. So we said baseline, and the background is white. And the transition for our hover state here will be 0.3 seconds ease. These are easing functions. You can check them out by Googling, of course. So we want our friend drawer here to have a class of grape, because later we might need it. I think it's for this part. Okay, let's just say it like this, background and a class grape, but we are not using it for this element. So for our text wrapper that wraps everything here, we will say text, and we want to give it a margin left of 12 pixels and the width of 70 pixels. For the H6 here, we want to say margin top 6 pixels and margin bottom of 0 pixels. So it's closer here. And for the paragraph element, we want to say margin 0. And for the time here, you just want to say time color gray. Okay, now we have our friend, but we don't have the hover state thingy, so we will say on hover. We have that class that says on hover. We say background to blue, and our cursor to pointer. Okay, so we have to make them white on hover. So inside of the hover wrapper, we want to say P H6 and time color. Okay, so text muted won't turn white. If we were to remove the text muted from this, what would happen? That's cool, how it works, I guess. So text muted looks like it has an important like thingy, so it doesn't really work, but this works. So that's our friend drawer. We will also want to include the line below the friend drawer like this, horizontal line. So I guess we can put a little HR here, and here's the line. Just write like some little styling to the line. We want to say that the margin is 5 pixels in auto, so it's in the middle, and the width is 60%. So basically that's it for the friend drawer. We just now want to copy it over like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to have it all filled up. So the friend drawer class is here, yeah. So the friend drawer. So that's it. These are our Okay, they don't have text muted. So that's it. Here are all of our friends. The next part would be to do the settings tray that's here. So another friend drawer to the top, but we are moving to the right column here. So our column that takes four Bootstrap columns on middle, we're finishing with that one and writing another one here. So on column medium 8, and we're gonna put everything we need for this right part in here. So what we want to do now is put the settings tray first. So this is another like settings tray of this right part because of these icons and everything. So let's say it's settings tray like this, and we have a friend drawer inside of it. So friend drawer with a class of no gutters and friend drawer gray. And inside of it, of course, we want the image with the source of the Robocop. I'm just gonna copy it over, and the alt tag is friend image. Also, I'm adding a class to the image that says profile image like this. So here's our friend. So after you added a profile image for the settings tray up here, we want to add the text. Text will go in its own wrapper like this, and inside of text wrapper we want to put the hsys tag that says Robocop and a paragraph that says laying down the law since life before Christ. Triple dot. Also, we need a span for our icons like here. So let's say we do it like this: span settings tray. Settings tray and float, right? Here we want to do similar icons, but let's do a different icons than before. So material icons cached, and two other ones. This is just like for presentational purposes to speed things up a little bit. It's this, and yeah, that's it. It's over here. So let's style it a little bit because right now it's not good right now. So yeah, after trying to figure out the bug, it was actually right here that we don't need this settings tray here for the icons, for our icon wrapper. So we can just say float right, and we have these things here. So the next step would be to add the chat bubbles. Excuse me, it's not here, it's over here. Let me just get this up here. So the chat bubbles look like this. I have them on the left and on the right, and each one of them has a little arrow that's a pseudo selector. And yeah, that's it. We will use Bootstrap rows to implement these. Although some might say it's too many HTML nodes, but you know, you can always go and optimize this. I don't say it's perfect. So let's begin by adding some nice chat bubbles to our chat panel here. So we're still in the right column. So everything we'll put here, column MD8. We begin after the settings tray. This is where the chat panel starts. So chat panel, we're gonna give it a class of chat panel, and inside of it there's a row. That row is 3 columns wide, and it has a message. So a chat bubble, and chat bubble class that has a chat bubble left modifier because it goes to the right, left, and we say hello dude. So basically that's it. Now let's style it a little bit so we get the idea of what it will look like. So for our chat bubble, let me put this up here so you can see. For our chat bubble, we can say that it has a padding of 10 and 14, a background of EEE, and a margin of 10 and 30, a border radius of 9 pixels, and its position is set relative. Animation, let's say fade in 1 second is in. We're going to write this as keyframes later, but for now this is all we need. So here's the beginning of the chat panel. Now we have to add the little arrow. It goes to the pseudo selector. Because we will have 2 types of arrow, like one for the left and one for the right, we will do it like this. So let's begin by adding an after pseudo selector that has a content none, position absolute, top 50%, width O, height 0, border of 20 pixels solid transparent. We're adding this, you'll see why. A border bottom of O and a margin top of -10 pixels. And because right now we're at the left side, we're styling this bubble that's on the left. You can say left, after, left 0, border right color is EEE, border left is 0, and margin left is -20 pixels. We have a bug here. It's border radius. Okay, something's wrong here. Border. So after fixing that bug, it looks like this. So why is it in a second row? We're going to figure that out now. So in order to remove this hello dude breaking into second row, we actually need to add a class of no gutters to our rows here. So no gutters. It removes the padding that Bootstrap adds here by default. So yeah, it actually looks like this. So now we have our code for the chat bubble that goes to the left side of the chat panel. So let's add another row with another chat bubble that will go to the right. I do it like this. So after this row, I add another row with a class of no gutters. It's 3 columns wide, but it actually has an offset of 9. So it will appear on the right of the chat panel. And inside of the chat bubble, I say chat bubble, right. So I can style it differently. We want the right chat bubble to be blue. So here we say hi meet. Okay, it's like this. So for the chat bubble right, we want to add some additional styling here. So here we have some styling for the left. Now we need some styling for the right part. So it goes like this, right? another pseudo selector after, right O, border left color is blue, border right is 0, and margin right is minus 20 pixels. It actually looks like this. We just have to add the blue color to this chat bubble. So we can do it in a few different ways, but let's say we have like a blue, actually let's nest it right here so we don't repeat a chat bubble, and we just say blue, and it has a background of blue and the color of white. So we just like have to add like a chat bubble blue, and that's it. Now we want to repeat these until we have enough of them to fill the chat panel. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 2 here, so I'll just copy these two more times, these 2 rows, like 2 more times here, just for the presentational purposes. We now have 4 of them. And okay, let's add 2 more. And just 1 more, like in the example. And yeah, that's it. So right now the only thing we have left is this input here. We're actually going to be borrowing some code from this input. So let's begin here. Excuse me, there's some bad code indentation. So after the latest chat bubble, it's right here. After the latest chat bubble, we're adding another row, another Bootstrap row here, and we're giving it a column of 12, so it takes up the whole width of this container. And we say chat box tray. That's a class we're giving it to this thing that goes right here. Oh yeah, we're missing the border here, so just here for our column MD4 we can add border right, and we have this little border here that we wanted. I think it looks like, yeah, it's okay. So to continue adding this part, chat box tray. In the chat box tray we need a material design icon, so material icons, sentiment very satisfied, it's this icon. It's a guy laughing. So after that icon, we need an input field with a placeholder of type your message here, triple dot, and we need 2 more icons. So material icon, one is microphone and the other is material icon send. Here is everything we need. Here now to style it a little bit, so chatbox tray is the class that we are writing our styles right now to. Chatbox tray, background of display flexbox, align items baseline. Now everything is like in the middle. Here it is. It has a little padding of 10 and 15 pixels, so it's a bit wider. Looks like our icons aren't loading here. Yeah, they need SS. Nice. So chatbox tray has a padding that we've added here. Align items. Actually, we don't want baseline, we want center. Yeah, that aligns them to the middle. And here we want to add a little margin top of 19 pixels, so this whole tray goes to the bottom a little bit more. We can actually do it in a better way, but for the presentational purposes, let's just add this margin top here on the whole chat box tray. And the bottom of 0. Okay, no bottom of 0. Remove this. So there's an input inside of this. It has a margin of 0 and 10 pixels and a padding of 6 pixels and 2 pixels. So you know the input has some space here around it. And now the icons in our chat box tray. For the icons, we want the color to be gray, font size to be 30 pixels, and vertical align to be middle. And for the last icon, it's this one. We just want to move it to the right a little bit, so we will use the last of type selector for the icon here. Last of type, margin left, 25 pixels. So this is not all the way to the bottom. I think if we remove this little HR on the left, it will all be fine. So in our left column here, we want to remove this HR element. And I think that should be it. Yeah, that's it. Nice. So we have everything we wanted here. We can add a little bit of JavaScript just to have this changing, but not really, you know. So because we have jQuery included, we can use a nice jQuery selector here. And let's say friend drawer on hover, so it's just these left front drawers. On, we're adding an event listener here and the callback function that will take our chat bubbles. So chat bubble and hide it on click, hide every chat bubble on click slowly, and then we're gonna chain another method here that's gonna show them slowly. Just for the presentational purposes here, we will have this effect. So yeah, that's it for this Codealong. This is a user interface of a chat app inspired by Facebook's WhatsApp. Just very simple prototype to test things out. What I might do in a different video, if anyone is interested, is make this look like a sci-fi science fiction chat. So I have a little prototype about that here on my Codepen. I think it looks nice. Here it is. So yeah, I can show you guys how to make this as well. It's pretty nice. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Codealong. It's the first time I ever made it, so it's probably gonna suck, but you know, you learn by experience. That's it. See you in another video. Bye bye. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.